Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for clicking on. This is Late Night America on the American Dufus channel. It is 12:01 on the 26th day of October. Halloween just around the corner. 2022 being the year. Hello, forget about that. Hello, Fred. Hello, Cunning Stunt. Thank you all for watching. Hello, everybody out there that isn't in the chat. Appreciate you being here. And we've got a lot to talk about this evening. But first, I want to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow night during our Late Night America on the American Dufus channel, we are going to have Summer Dickerson back on this program. We've had Summer on several times. We're going to have BTM Sparky Madness on the program tomorrow night as well. Both of those ladies are going to be on here. So it's going to be ladies' night tomorrow night. Ladies' night. Oh, yeah. It's going to be ladies' night tomorrow night. And it'll be really interesting to hear the two of them talking about things, as well as I've got a couple of things I wanna bring up. And of course, as always, if there's anybody out there that has a question they want asked, or if they want to come up and talk, if I know who you are, of course, we'll be able to make that happen. So that is all coming up tomorrow night. And there's BTM Sparky now. Yay. Yes. We're going, it's not like the topics we'll be discussing tomorrow night can be talked about too much. That can happen. There's not enough awareness at the moment, and I look forward to tomorrow night. I look forward to having those two ladies on talking with each other as well as talking with me. So hi, Lori Arnold. Hi, Ellie. GA from CA, Electronic Progression. Hello to all of you, and let's get right to it. We are going to start out with how I kind of ended the last episode. This is our friend Dan from Russia, and in case you weren't with us on the last episode, or you weren't with us all the way to the end, this sounds an awful lot like it might be Dan's last broadcast, and I just want to play a couple of moments here that more than one person that struck me, and that struck more than one person enough for them to mention it to me.
We are going to see the finish result of this game soon. I worried about Ukrainians and Russians. I worried about Ukrainians and Russian people. I worried about American and European people. I see what's going on, and I worried about people. The dark game is playing right now, and it's very old game. And I feel that we are going to see the results soon of this game. Guys, I feel that people, they are don't playing in this game. They are just like spectators, you know. We all like just spectators. We are like hostages in system. We are going by rule on this system. We are not free. So if we are just spectators, we cannot change the world to the better side, because spectators cannot change anything. But one thing we can change our life. We can change just our own life. And I hope through changing our life, around world can be changed a little.
Again, that's Dan. Um, we've featured his videos several times on the program, and that struck me for a number of reasons. One of which is because it gives us a clear example of how at least someone in another part of the world feels, and how eerily close it may be to how we feel. Um, and also that the fact that we are we are all the we are all the unimportant ones. We are, as he said, the spectators, and the spectators can't do anything but watch what's happening. They can't impact or control anything, um, unless they totally act out of the rule, which he said. We stay in the rule, and we are the spectators, and uh, sometimes I'm sure it feels that way to you as well. That there are people that are playing the game, as he says, and we are pieces in the game. We are not players in the game, and sometimes pitting the players against each other um, is just merely for the enjoyment of those that are playing the game. And that's what we're starting out tonight with, something to think about. Echo Romeo 2, um, Hola, Sassy Pants. Um, Everyone, hello. Thank you for watching. And my latest novel is America, Land of the Greed, Home of the Grave. And what we're going to do, I've got 20 copies. I'm going to number the copy and sign the copy. I'll put whatever inscription you want to put in it. You can get it on Amazon currently for like $19.95, I think, plus shipping and handling. What I'm doing with these, I'm going to sell these for $25. That includes shipping and handling. Um, Either Cashapp me $25 or super chat, or email me and I'll give you the PayPal. I'm just not a big fan of using PayPal. And so email me first of all. Let me know you'd like to have a copy, what you want written in the copy, and then we'll arrange how to your address, of course, and then we'll arrange that. So what brought that up is the book is about two powerful families coming together to take over America, and a group that's trying to stop them. So that's just the elevator version, if you will. And if I do say so myself, it's a pretty good story. So I hope you'll consider getting a copy. If not for yourself, get one for a friend. They make they make great gifts, and it doesn't have to be autographed or anything. That's just in case something happens and it becomes a movie, then you've got a great piece of memorabilia. And if not, you got something to read when everything else goes down, which at one point it will. It is a novel, yes, GA from CA. It is, but I felt like I had to get it out because a lot of the things were starting to happen that I'd written. I wrote this in 2016 originally, and published it at the end of 2021, I think. So, yes, I've got 3 novels out, and they're in the description below. And thank you, everybody. Let's get into breaking news, as we always do to start out tonight. But if you haven't seen the last episode, please go check it out, and you can see the entirety of Dan's um, video in it. It's very interesting. He's got one from about a week ago that I had scheduled to play, but ran out of time. Um, his family farms, and he does a video about his family hasn't been farming um, because of the restrictions that have been placed on the country of Russia. So the sanctions have impacted him, and he does a video on that. If you're interested. So, breaking news, as we always do, we take a look at what's going on as far as mainstream media headlines. CNN, the headline is the St. Louis school shooter had an AR-15 style rifle, 600 rounds of ammo, and a note for when he was killed, saying that he didn't have any friends, he didn't have any family, and that's why he was doing what he was doing. We'll go more in depth on that story coming up here in just a couple of minutes, because I don't think many people have heard about that. Ukraine alleges Russian dirty bomb deception at a nuclear plant. The nuclear plant in Zaporizhzhia that we have talked about quite often on the program here. Ukraine is saying that the power's been cut down several times there. The plant may be already damaged, and Russia's going to say that Ukraine has ignited a dirty bomb to blame it all on Russia. And Ukraine and the United States and the Western countries are out in front saying it's a false flag operation. If something does happen, Russia has done it to themselves, but it's not really going to be to themselves because it is going to be actually on Ukrainian territory. Hopefully, nothing happens, and it's just a bunch of diplomatic espionage, if you will. Rishi Sunak is now the Prime Minister of Great Britain, and vows to fix Liz Truss's mistakes that she made in only 5 weeks of office. According to Reuters, prosecutor says a star witness will be reluctant to testify in a Trump company trial. Now you got to remember, Trump's companies under investigation for fraudulent behavior. Trump's under investigation for election tampering in Georgia. Trump's also under investigation for defamation of character over a rape case. And then he's got the federal stuff, okay? I just want to make all that clear because we're going to be talking in a little bit about how all these legal actions could have a wider impact. Philadelphia Inquirer, the Pennsylvania Senate debate, Fetterman says debate against Oz will be a challenge, is what the headline continues. And the New York Times and a lot of places have a headline that there was a magnitude F1 earthquake, 5.1 magnitude earthquake, and it hit the San Francisco Bay Area just outside of San Jose. And we're going to talk about that again coming up here in just a couple of minutes. But some stories that weren't in the headlines that need some more attention, and that's really what this show's been the basis of this show is just that. And we start out with the St. Louis school shooting. In case you were not aware of what happened there, here's a brief report.
Jean Kutska died trying to protect her students.
She
cared about those kids. Like every day she came into school, she put herself between them and harm, between them and danger. She was the embodiment of love.
Kutska taught phys ed at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School in St. Louis, which came under fire Monday morning by a recent graduate.
Suspect in this incident is Orlando Harris. He's a black male, 19 years of age. He graduated from the high school last year. No prior criminal history.
Report of a shooting at the high school here.
Responding officers saw students on the roof awaiting rescue after the shooter opened on the third floor with a long gun.
He had in his possession one rifle, an AR-15 style rifle. It appears that he came into the building with more than 600 rounds of ammunition.
It was over quickly, but not before Kutska and a student, 16-year-old Alexandria Bell, were killed. 7 others were injured.
My friend have all blood on her hand, and it was like she seen the shooter, and the shooter came to her, and just see her just screaming and crying.
One student was taking video during the attack.
Everybody line up a single file line, okay?
Relief at reaching safety soon turned to disbelief.
It's sick that people want to have the attention to kill kids. Like, it's crazy. Like,
Police are still working to determine a motive, but detectives found a note in which the shooter described himself as an isolated loner and said his life had become a perfect storm for a mass shooter. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
Okay, so for those of you that
Thank you. Good evening.
those of you that weren't aware of what happened yesterday, and it did not get a lot of major attention, and some people are saying it's because of the area it was in and the demographics of the students, which of course is, as always on here, just something to think about. We don't tell you how to think or what to think. We just give you things to think about. And one of the things we have been thinking about is the water supply. What's going on? What's going on with the water? And I've had a few people chip in and share some information. 10 largest bottled water companies in the world. And we have to think about all of the water that's being used. Okay, the water not just being used in bottled water, but the water being used in everything from soft drinks to your canned goods. All contain some portion of water. So as far as what's happening with the water, there's not one answer, in my opinion. There are a number of things that are coming together that are drastically creating water shortages and water insecurity. And it's already going on in a number of places, including here in the United States. I've talked a lot, all the way up through month of September, I talked a lot about being prepared in case something happened, no matter what it was, whether it be a hurricane, a tornado, or an earthquake, or something bigger. And I haven't been talking about that a whole lot lately. I'm just going to say that I do have I've got a series of 5 episodes. I think it's 5 episodes, real short, on just basic preparedness for things. And actually, let me go ahead, because I've got that up. I've got it right here in a playlist. I've got just basic fundamentals of preparation, part 1 being a mental preparation, just being prepared something could happen. Part 2, the actual physical aspect of being prepared, emotional aspect, a spiritual aspect, and then kind of a 30-minute quick overview, if you will. And the times we live in, I think, warrant, in my opinion, at least minimal preparedness for all of us. and that including that's especially true when it comes to our water supply. Um, and as I said, it's already happening here in America. This is from Scientific America, Scientific American. Growing drinking water crisis threatens American towns and cities. Jackson, Mississippi, for those that don't know. Cities in Michigan have been experiencing water problems for a long time. Actually, let me just go to a map real quick that shows where the water crises are happening at the moment. Then we're going to talk about what could be coming here in the future. This is from ABC News. Benton Harbor, Michigan. I know Flint, Michigan is notorious for water problems. Baltimore, Maryland. Jackson, Mississippi. Rio Grande down in Texas, and Honolulu, Hawaii. Las Vegas, New Mexico. All experiencing water problems at the moment, and it's just going to grow. The Mississippi River, as we have said, and as we're going to be talking about in just a couple of moments, is drying up, and that's not something I think all of us were prepared for. And obviously it's not just in the United States that things are happening. However, there is a major United States connection to water scarcity around the world. And again, to me, there are many factors. The demand for water because of bottled water, the fact that water is not it's not something you can create. It is a potentially finite resource, just as oil is, just as many of the things that we take for granted are. So don't take that was from the Water Project, by the way. Don't take your water source, don't take your water supply, don't take the fact that that you might have plenty of water now. Don't take that for granted. And I'm not trying to be alarmist in any way, shape, or form. I'm just being real with you. Just telling you what maybe nobody else is telling you. Wall Street buying up the world's water. Let's take a quick look at that. I mentioned Nestle as a possibility because Nestle puts out a whole bunch of bottled water in a bunch of different labels.
Michigan, a state surrounded by water, is drowning in controversy. For years, Nestle, the world's largest food and beverage company, has bottled Michigan's water for next to nothing and sold it at great profit. Now, the state has greenlit the company's request to pump even more, despite widespread opposition.
And all Nestle has to pay for these millions of gallons of water it gets a year is $200.
And this in a territory where Native American tribes have treaty rights.
There is a perception around the world that Nestle goes into poor communities with lax regulations, entices them with the promise of jobs, and then takes their water, sells it back to them at a profit.
We have to go where the water's at.
What do you think Nestle should do?
Go home to Switzerland.
As always, we just give you a little bit of something to think about. You can catch this entire video. Wait a minute, what did I do with it? Did I just delete it? I did, accidentally. I'll put the link up. If I forget to do it tonight, I'll put it up in wait a minute, I didn't delete it. Hold on. Here we go. I did not delete. All right. The great water grab. Wall Street is buying up the world's water. How Nestle makes billions bottling free water. That is on YouTube. It was done by Contributor, and it came out in 2019. If you wish to watch the rest of that, if you have an interest in water, it might be something you would, something I would recommend you really take a look at. Just saying, okay? As always, we just give you things to think about, and we're going to keep doing that. Quick look at water, specifically the Mississippi River. Let me pull this up. This was recommended to me on Twitter.
The Mississippi River is drying up.
Rain will start to fall in the valley to an extent where it'll start to bring that water back down to the Mississippi, and things will get better. If not.
All right. Again, this comes from the Wall Street Journal. Some things to think about in there. At the very end, the thing to think about is in December, if there is precipitation in the Ohio River Valley, more than likely it's going to be snow and not necessarily rain. And again, not enough water, but yet all the flooding and the talk of monsoon conditions. Again, I have to honestly say that in my opinion there are a number of factors contributing to what's going on with the water, and we may not be seeing all of them as of yet. We're going to keep an eye on what's going on and keep you updated as we find out. Also, we learned in that brief video that might be an opportunity for food shortages even more than there are now. That's a lesson that might come out of that video, as they didn't specifically say that, but it doesn't take a genius connecting dots to figure out that if it's costing farmers a whole lot more, and you saw that it went from $21 to $105 to transport the food. What do you think that's going to do to those of us that are the end consumer? It's liable not to be very good this coming winter. So again, prepare just in case it is worst case scenarios all the way around. And let me go back here. Wait a minute, I clicked off of that. Let me click back on, because I will forget and go through a bunch of stories without the video portion of which is irritating for both you and me. I saw this and real honest with you, the first thing I thought of was our friend Jeff Ellis. I thought this guy's got to be a relative of Jeff Ellis, because I can just see Jeff Ellis, either with this giant TV with 16 different views on it, or 16 monitors. Because and not just Jeff, there are others that just keep track of everything. So our bit of lightheartedness comes tonight with the view of multiple possible live streams. All right, the epicenter was San Jose. Evidently somebody was relatively new to the area, and They put 19 kilometers San Jose, or Hose, but it's San Jose. 5.1 earthquake 12 miles from San Jose. Why is this important? There's a fault. The Arcadia fault line runs north from here up towards Oregon and Washington and up into Alaska. And the Reyes fault basically runs south from this area down to LA. When you got a 5.1 magnitude earthquake, and you're in that area, you have to think, okay, is this a precursor to that big one that everyone is talking about? And I just wanted to show this. This came out before it was seismically verified. This is a crowdsourced detection platform. So people report into this when they feel a tremor in their area, and it came out before the USGA. So that tells you the importance and the potential of social media when it's right, in my opinion. Bloomberg reports that Elon Musk informed to bankers that the Twitter transaction will be finalized on Friday. So at some point on Friday, Elon Musk will be the owner of Twitter. Currently broadcasting on Twitter live at the moment as we are on YouTube. Again, thank you all for watching. And it'll be curious to see what happens come Friday. Now, this leads us into our next group of stories. There was a report that a Marco Rubio supporter was a victim of political violence, okay? He was attacked in Hialeah in South Florida, and the word went out that, you know, he was attacked because he supported Marco Rubio. The truth is that's not why he was attacked. He was attacked in revenge because he had ties to white supremacist groups, and he had ties to the Proud Boys, okay? Ford Fisher, guest of the show, was in, that's why I delete as I go sometimes. Our buddy Ford Fisher was at Penn State, and let me get... Here we go. Our buddy Ford Fisher was at Penn State night at Penn State as a right-winger pulled a canister of mace out and pointed it at a crowd of anti-Proud Boy protesters. Officers continued to stand by as he sprayed the crowd, including myself, and ran away. So go to News Share Ford Fisher for all of his videos, his IRL videos, his in real life stuff, and we've got a little bit more on this Penn State incident that happened last night, and I'm just going to run down. We'll click on police dispersed crowds outside of Penn State last night. And be clear, the police on horseback are trying to disperse the protesters that were there protesting the Proud Boy event, an event which was an event which was eventually canceled. Eventually canceled. Why did I have trouble saying that? Penn State protest against demonstration against police. Just giving you some ideas of what was being said. What a disgrace state you allow, and with some truly appalling, both sides blame the protesters, and now your cops almost trample protesters and do nothing when they're hurt. And we'll do one more here. Are a cross between a terrorist organization and a pathetic street gang, think wannabes and cosplaying soldier types. Either way, no reason for to have invited their thugs violence as they did. So that's what this is eventually going to come down to. Who started? It seems to be not a lot of violence. There is a lot of video, as you can imagine, but let's take a look at it from a perspective of independent journalism, as we try to do on here. And this is the report that came out on the Hill. And Penn State cancels student organized appearance by Proud Boys founder, citing threats of violence. Okay, we've already shown all the threats of violence. It's just a matter, the police were coming up on both sides. Is the reports I got. It wasn't at least one side said all the police were doing was terrorizing the Proud Boys. The other side said all the police was terrorizing the police. There were significant, and I mean significantly more protests than there were Proud there. So that ended up appearing as if they were I know some of you out there are angry at what you're hearing on both sides. We try to be a journalist, all possible angles, and come on, pop-ups here. I want to read. Organization Unsent America, which advocates for hosting canceled speakers. Proud Boys founder Gavin and right-wing Blaze TV host like Stein. Protests had erupted campus by several hundred people just before the event start time, with Stein at one time to protest, according to Center Times Daily. Actually, I've got video of both of them being rushed with police escort. Penn State's cancellation announcement that demonstrations against via the person saying, blaming it on this was pathetic, or whatever the person said. We have encouraged protest, and while protest is an acceptable means of expression, it becomes unacceptable when it obstructs the basic such as a form of censorship, no matter who initiates it or for what reasons. This is the official Penn State University administration. The university reiterated, disagreed with the views expressed by Uncensored America, but that they should be allowed to be shared. The university has been clear that the views and speech of the two speakers at tonight's student organization hosted event are abhorrent and do not align with the values of Penn State. The university expects that people engaging in expressive activity will demonstrate concern for the safety of persons and property, respect for university activities, blah, blah, blah. What it comes down to is the university either, if they thought the views were so abhorrent, they shouldn't have given the green light to the event taking place. Once they did give the green light to the event taking place, the university should have made sure the event went off, in my opinion. By stopping the event, they did indeed censor the First Amendment rights of not only the speakers, but of the people that were there to hear them speak. Whether you like the message or not, that's what freedom is. Freedom is the fact that somebody can have an opinion totally opposite of yours, and maybe an opinion that is totally abhorrent and disgusting, but they have the right to have their opinion. And if you give them a platform, they have the right to share that opinion. Now, what I'm saying right now is probably going to be unpopular to everybody, because both sides think the other side has done something wrong, and this is a potential trigger for a civil war, and blah, 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 blah. And I can see both sides. I can see that it is a potentially abhorrent message. We don't know what the message actually was. We've got a pretty good idea probably, but we don't know what it was. But I can see that some would think this is going to be abhorrent and we should not be exposed to it. And I can see the other side saying, you have suppressed our First Amendment right, and this is censorship. And both sides are correct. And that's what America is. America, when we exercise our, it is sometimes hearing things that we don't agree with. And if it destroys you to hear something you don't agree with, that's something you might need to work on, because things are going to get a lot tougher than they are now. And as I've said before when talking about the chat, empower yourself. I encourage you to empower yourself. Stand up for yourself. If you can't stand up for yourself in chat and block somebody that is saying things you don't want to hear, how are you ever going to do it in real life? And you're going to have to do it in real life. Now, they could have boycotted the event. They could have encouraged people not to attend. But they came out en masse, and the university chose to cancel the event. And it's created a problem, massive problem on a small scale. And this is the kind of thing that could be a potential trigger for something much bigger. I don't think this will be. The elections are coming up. There's the potential for violence around the elections. I don't think it's going to be national violence. I don't think it's going to break out into a civil war on the day after the election and everybody in the country fighting. I think there's going to be violence around the election in certain areas and in certain states. The potential for civil war, the potential for widespread violence nationally, in my opinion, only comes when something happens with Trump. And that's why we mentioned in the beginning, that's why we explained all the various legal problems he currently has. As soon as something happens to him in one of those legal situations and he goes off and he gives the green light for his loyal people to go off, they will go off. They are ready to go off now. They are ready to go off because of what we have on the screen right now. And if you don't believe me, that's okay. Ask them. And if you're one of them, you're probably nodding right now. I've received messages, the war's already started, the fighting, the violence hasn't started yet, but it's coming. And one side's preparing for it while the other side's thinking it's not a possibility. And I'm telling you all of this because we started this with Dan from Russia telling us it's getting ready to get bad all around the world. He sees it where he's at, and they are looking hard at what's going on around the rest of the world because everything they see from Russian media is all propaganda. So they're paying close attention, even to channels like this. And thank you. People watch this in other countries, and I don't say thanks enough for all of you outside of the United States watching this. But the fact that it's so bad all around the world, and the fact that we are so close to potentially battling each other within our own country is just absolute ludicrous, but it is very much a reality. And we have to talk about it because we got to keep talking about it, because maybe we can talk through it. Maybe we can keep talking and keep trying to understand each other. And there's never that trigger, that event that kicks it off. That's my hope anyway. That's my hope. So, one of my streams is having connection problems. I just got a message. Pardon me. Got a couple of more things real quick as we get towards the 1 o'clock hour on the East Coast. This channel said red alert, U.S., Japan, South Korea, all on nuclear alert. Doomsday planes are airborne now. Real quickly, what the doomsday planes are. The doomsday planes basically are there to fire the nuclear weapons in case a submarine, all the people on a submarine become disabled for whatever reason. The doomsday plane can still fire the nuclear weapons. In case everybody in an ICBM bunker gets incapacitated for whatever reason, the doomsday plane can still fire all the nuclear weapons. There's always one doomsday plane up at a time. Pardon me. Mercy. There's always one doomsday plane up at a time. We're just going to give a quick listen to this, because what happened tonight was a little bit more than a little bit rare.
on the submarine.
Hear that? This is what we always tell you. Always one airborne all the time. Whether he shows up on the map or not, there's always at least one airborne. So to two is no big deal because you have to have two in the air at once because one is at altitude doing its job and the one to replace it has to come up to altitude so the other one can drop off and go home. So that would mean to see two in the air is not uncommon. To see three in the air is even less common. It's not extremely rare. It does happen because you have sometimes planes are swapping out on ships, and then you also have aircraft that are two of these launch in the same time and go in opposite directions and then have another one of these airborne and that stays airborne for an extended period of time, or to see two of these doing orbits for extended periods of time plus a third one or a fourth one up, now you're getting into some rare stuff. Then to have all of the E3s up, all of the 135s up, it was like I was telling people earlier in the broadcast, enough of these command and control aircraft airborne today to fight two major conflicts, two separate hemispheres of the Earth at the same time.
This map here indicates all of the major command and control aircraft that were up at one time. And as he said, we had enough up to basically control two major theaters of war. Either this is an exercise or this is preparation for something that may be coming. And it's not just the United States, it's Japan and South Korea. Now, what's that tell us? To me, that says the major danger is going to be North Korea. If the red alert is United States, Japan, and South Korea, that is because of potential danger from North Korea, not from Russia. So again, we've got so much going on all fronts. Fighting amongst ourselves ought to be something that we wouldn't even consider. We considering how can we make sure as many people survive whatever may be coming. How can we do that? But that's not where the majority of people's heads are at this time. Okay, hold on a second. This somehow played. Okay, let me get off here, not show the ad. I'll hop back on here in a second. I want to cue it up to this point right there. Okay. All right. One final thing to show you. It's from Ben Davidson. And we feature suspicious observers on here a while because, in all honesty, you know, I find Ben rather pretentious and obnoxious at times, but when it comes to the science of the sun, specifically solar science, I find him to be one of the most, if not the most, expertise and accurate in what he tells us could be happening. So again, you don't have to like somebody to hear them out. All right, you don't have to like somebody to give them respect to say what their opinions are. And you don't have to like somebody to learn something from them. Again, just something to think about. What I want to show you here is just this basic basic graphic that he has up of the magnetic field strength at the Earth's surface as of October 15th. The highest magnitude, the highest magnetic, as you can see, is up here. This is where the North Magnetic Pole is migrating towards right now. Both poles are migrating. The North Magnetic Pole and the South Magnetic Pole. And by the way, they've flipped in the past about 700,000 years ago. So as far as charges go, this is actually the South Pole at the north, and this is actually the North Magnetic Pole at the south. But I don't want to mention that too much because it gets confusing. But the yellow up here, this shows where the pole is the current magnetic pole located in the north is migrating to, and this shows where the current pole located in the south is migrating to, right over here off the coast of Australia. Will these two come together? Will there be another polar flip? We don't know the answers to any of that, because the last time anything like this happened, human beings were not on the planet, or if we were, we weren't recording anything. The biggest magnetic anomaly is right here, and it's known as the South Atlantic anomaly, and that is the weakest magnetic point. These are the weakest magnetic point at the moment, and scientists don't know why. So a lot of things to think about tonight, and I thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching, and I'm going to hop over to the chat for just a minute. I want to remind you that tomorrow night is ladies' night, and we're going to have Summer Dickerson back on the show. We're going to have BTM Sparky back on the show, and both at the same time, and look forward to that. Okay, y'all talking amongst yourselves. Okay, I'm guessing from Taurus's comment that Sovereign Free Citizen said something that wasn't liked. Kanye needs an intervention from Tupelo. Kanye lost all of his financial contracts with both the Gap and Adidas today, so he took a hard financial hit today. Shannon Leslie, hello, American Doofus. Thank you for being here, Shannon. Gigi, she has an FJB. Okay, you know, that's one thing that is really different. Well, it's not even worth talking about. Never mind. GA from CA, thank you, GA. Echo Romeo 2, Sovereign Free Citizen. We walking back the Kanye hot takes already? I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. Telescope. Would you ask the Grifting Squad about their thoughts on Proud and Boogaloo Boys? Who's okay? Yeah, I will. I'm not sure who all that entails, but Grifting Squad. What are your thoughts on the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys? I had Boogaloo, one of the members of the Boogaloo group, on here several times in the past. We had 3%ers on here. We had the Black Militia on here. We had the white non-affiliated militia on here. We've had a little bit of everything on here. We've had somebody that's Antifa affiliated. That was, I think his name was Bobby from the Bay. He was from the San Francisco Bay Area and came on. So we couldn't, and that's not his real name, obviously, but really informative. So yeah, I've got a whole bunch of episodes in the past with talking with a lot of different people, trying to understand why people are doing what they are doing and why people are thinking what they're thinking. Next time you go to McDonald's, learn how to use the kiosk. Yeah, I was that was the first time I'd ever used a kiosk at McDonald's, and it was rather funny. But yeah, once if you didn't have cash money, you couldn't buy anything. It was just such a weird. Everything was weird about that. We're standing in line, and somebody comes out of the back and says, "There's nobody that can take your order. You have to use the kiosk, and you have to have a card, or you can't buy food." And I don't know. Doofus and Lori tour the USA, and that's from Lori, Lori Arnold. McDonald's food's so bad nowadays, cold and gross. Yeah, I had a Big Mac and I took the first bite out. And first of all, it was like I wasn't sure I was going to be able to bite all the way through it, and then it was like, my God, this is so cold. But I was hungry and I took a second bite like an idiot. Lori, where's the tour going to start? Who's going to sponsor the tour? How much are we going to make a week? And let's get all the details lined up before. Dr. Justice says I'd go to your tour. I was actually, again, we were gonna do a brief Midwestern tour for the book, but COVID happened anyway. We have a decent McDonald's by us. Yeah, I'm sure that Lori Arnold, details. Yeah, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are good McDonald's. It's just, and I don't go to McDonald's a lot, to be honest with you. I go to, if I'm going to get fast food, I generally go to Arby's or Culver's or Burger King or just about anywhere. Hit the road and see where it takes us, Lori Arnold says. Oh yeah, Lori Arnold, BTM Sparky says to Lori, you guys should tour America and stop to see all of us in different places. Lori talked about taking you to Texas. Wendy's has hot, fresh burgers. Okay. There won't be enough room for you in her car, and you don't want to be a member of the grifting squad. Keep your head up. Thank you, Telescope. Real talk. How you doing, man? Jungle Jane is in here too. Hi, Jungle Jane. L. Smith. I don't. Wendy's. Yeah, I generally get a pretty good burger from Wendy's, but the prices are such now at the fast food places that there are a couple of restaurants I'd rather go to locally that I'm going to pay about the same amount for and get a much better burger. There's I don't eat out much more anymore either, and very rarely is it fast food. BTM Sparky. Telescope wants to ride in the trunk. Don't lie. We wouldn't make Telescope ride in the trunk. He might have to sit in the back between the dogs, but no, just kidding. Habit Burger Grill Burger the other day. It's pricey but very good. Best onion rings. Telly is just jealous. Onion rings, for me, the best fast food onion rings are at Burger King by far. Arby's came out with a new crinkle fry. They're pretty darn tasty. But there's a relatively new farm to table pub that's within walking distance of me, and I got a burger there the other night. They call it the Morning Roost, and it was a double patty smash burger with cheese, with bacon, with an egg, and peanut butter, and it was excellent. The peanut butter gave it just that little nutty sweetness with it. I mean, it didn't taste, it wasn't like 3 inches of peanut butter on it or anything, so it overpowered it. But it was real unique: egg and bacon and hamburger and cheese and peanut butter and a really tasty bun. First time I'd ever had that. Echo knows how to pick little out of the way restaurants. What would Echo think, Lori? What would Echo think of you and I touring the country together? Is he going to be our driver and security, or how's that going to work? Telescope. Oh, there's Echo now. Telescope won't make it to the great state of Tejas. It's too hot. Muy en fuego. Waffle House for winners. GA from CA. I like their burgers and their breakfast stuff. Has anybody else ever had a burger with an egg on it? Egg, bacon, peanut butter burger? Echo can be security. Okay. Okay, whoa. I don't know where that came from. Sovereign free citizen. Sparky Booty and me are eating a breakfast pizza together right now. Taco Bell bean burritos, the only fast food I eat. I'll get a every once in a while I get a craving for like a submarine sandwich kind of thing, and generally I bypass Subway and go to Firehouse Subs. Is a place that puts a pretty good sandwich together. Egg, yes. Peanut butter, no. No peanut butter. No, 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 no. Everybody's no, no, no. Egg, better than peanut butter burger. It was just like a smear of peanut butter across the top of the bun, and it just gave it a really different taste. And the egg and the bacon and the burger and the cheese, all the different textures and all the flavors went pretty good together. If somebody's being rude to you, just just block them. Indiana Outpost, best burger ever with egg. The Indiana Outpost, okay. Best burger in Northwest Wisconsin is Grunrich's First Street Inn in Bayfield. Best burger in Southeast Wisconsin is Stillhouse in Cedarburg. Thanks, Max. It sounds so gross. Yeah, a lot of people have said that. The peanut butter just doesn't sound right. Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Again, it's not so much peanut butter that it overwhelms it or anything. It just gives it like a little nutty sweetness that it was just it's different. I can't see the rude people mentioned here. It's nice. L. Smith's controlling, enabled. Wayback Burgers are local and yummy. Okay, I've not heard of a Wayback Burger. I've heard of In-N-Out Burger, but they're not around here. Peanut butter and banana sandwich. I have had that, and that's pretty tasty. Some people have peanut butter, banana, and bologna. I've had fried peanut butter and banana, or fried peanut butter and bologna, and I've had just regular peanut butter and banana. But I can't imagine, fried, or I can't even fried or not fried peanut butter, banana, and bologna together. But some people like it. Let's have a home cooked meal tour. Indiana Outpost rated #1 hamburger in the state. Lori, if we could make enough money, we'd need a sponsor. Like I don't know who's a home cooked meal sponsor. Schwann's maybe. Maybe Schwann's would give us one of their Swan trucks to drive across the country and promote Schwann's. Have a home cooked meal tour and weigh 700 pounds when it was over. Burger with egg, bacon, avocado, and sharp cheddar. That doesn't sound all that bad. That's a different mixture. The avocado, that's the California thing. But I love avocado. And kiwi fruit, oh my gosh. Star fruit. I used to live close enough to a university that the university had a Kroger superstore that was nearby, and they had this incredible collection of vegetables and fruits from all around the world, kind of like a Trader Joe's. Okay. Who drives the Swan truck? Valid question, because one of us will have to navigate too. And Lori, somebody's got to be holding the camera. Seriously, Doofus, when did school board meetings become the venue for people to yell their political agenda? Sometime in the past 4 to 6 years, Dr. Justice. Doofus, you ever read up or investigate governments and population control? Yes, I have. And I still want to know what happened to those stones in Georgia, where it was supposed to be the important warning that the Earth is only supposed to have 500 million people on it to sustain itself, not 8 billion. And yeah, there's some scary but yet feasible conspiracy theories out there about population control, about doing away with a bunch of us. And it's okay. What happened to the old two-party system and we got along? Trump came along and half the country went nuts. Yeah. But really, it all happened. It all happened before that. Trump just brought things to a culmination. Things had been under the surface for a long time. There'd been just based on disrespect, starting at disrespect and growing to the place where we're at now, where there's a massive gap between many people. The Georgia Guidestones, yeah, that's what I was thinking about. The politics of the division began in 1988 with the Bush 41 campaign. Roger Ailes was its godfather, in my humble opinion. It can be traced back to that, maybe even before Bush 41. You could maybe go back to Nixon. maybe even Kennedy, because, Papa Joe Kennedy, I'm not talking about the boys, but Papa Joe Kennedy didn't always play fair. Trump made it okay to spread ridiculousness. That is true. That is true. And some people bought into it. Some people accepted it or overlooked it. Other people automatically were just like, we can't have any more of this. So yeah, kind of exacerbated things. Yeah, I'm not a Trump fan either. I'm not a Biden fan either. I've met Biden. I haven't met Trump. But the whole time, there wasn't this mass amount of obvious hate for Trump when he was in office that was displayed by the people that did not vote for him. And from the moment, even before, a lot of you were conditioned to hate Joe Biden even before he won, because the big lie had started long ago. Get a passport and travel. Bernie, seriously? No, I think Hillary took the nomination from Bernie. Absolutely. I was there when it happened. And, yeah, it's something called superdelegates. It's a long story. Why does President Trump have so many people at his rallies? Well, it all depends who you talk to, because we've seen evidence that he pays, or somebody pays some of them to show up. A lot of the people that are at his rallies, it's kind of like the Grateful Dead. A lot of the people at his rallies are the same people. They're there at every rally, no matter what. And then he tells people what they want to hear, certain people what they want to hear, so they're going to support that. And now, talking about Bernie and talking about Hillary and yeah, Biden probably could be. It said Biden stole her from Bernie too. Bernie would, anyway. That talking about all of these things, Tulsi Gabbard now all of a sudden is a Trump person, which just cracks me up. Same thing with Carrie Lake. If you know Carrie Lake's background, you know that these two women are just telling the Trump followers what they want to hear. They're telling Trump what he wants. Tulsi Gabbard in 2016 was talking one-on-one with people like me about getting the nomination to be Bernie's vice president. Okay? Now Tulsi is a Trump supporter, and you all believe that. She's telling you what y'all want to hear. Carrie Lake is the exact same way. She was a staunch Democrat 2 years ago, and now she's a Trump supporter. And everybody believes them. That's the thing. If you believe Trump, anyway. Tulsi was the last great liberal, according to some. Jimmy Dore loves Tulsi. Duck Goose, he's a good person. Okay? She's not a Trump supporter, just a radical. Okay? And hey, it's okay to be a Trump supporter. Just because I'm not doesn't mean I hate you because you are. All right? Just means we disagree about things. Staunch. Troy was never a Democrat. Okay. All right. I'm giving you the 6-minute warning. We're going to shut down here at 1:30. So if you got a chat going with somebody in the chat, you got about 6 minutes to go back and forth. Okay, Echo. She's seen the light. She's saying what y'all want to hear. Keep in mind, I ran for Congress, okay, and I didn't. It wasn't just any race. It wasn't, it's not a. Oh, I tried. I was the party nominee 3 times, and the party tried to beat me each time, and each time the people made me the nominee. And each time I learned a little bit more about what's going on in Washington, D.C. And let me tell you, a lot of people will tell you one thing when they're campaigning, and once they get in office, those things that they talk about when they're on the campaign trail that you all get so fired up about are just nothing more than that. Telling you what you want to hear just to keep you engaged, and that's on both sides. That does make Tulsi dangerous. Exactly, Barney. Have a blessed evening to you too, GA from CA. Yeah, anybody that gets into that sphere of power is potentially dangerous. The Democrats could be a lot more liberal. Progressives get upset with the party. Yeah, absolutely. Choke, abuse in Chicago. Ed McManus, the abuse was swept under the rug. Voting no on Kari Lake. Sassy Pants, so is my good friend. I keep my mouth shut and we're still friends. Yeah, it should have. One thing the pandemic did was drove everybody to the computers. And a whole bunch of divisions started with people saying things online that they would never say to somebody to their face. And that, again, some people totally blame Trump. And Trump exacerbated things. But the pandemic and the lockdown and everybody going to their computers and all the social media is blowing up played a huge part, because people started talking in a way, it enabled people to talk in a way that they didn't have to have filters. Like I said, talking in no way, shape, or form like you would actually talk to somebody in person. And more and more, and the thing about social media is you're not talking one-on-one with somebody. There are at times thousands of people hearing what you're saying. Lockdowns made everyone crazy. Yeah. Head trauma Herschel is a pathetic excuse for a candidate and a dad and a husband. I still don't understand what the Republicans were thinking putting Herschel Walker up as a Senate candidate. I really don't, in Georgia. And he might win. I sure hope not. And just because he doesn't, that's an important position. And he hasn't shown that he would fulfill that position in any way, shape, or form in a potentially positive manner, in my opinion. So, again, thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night. We will have Lori. No, we won't have Lori. We will have Summer Dickerson back on the show. We will have BTM Sparky back on the show, and we'll hear the two of them converse with each other, as well as conversing with me and answering your questions, and possibly have a couple of you up on the show with us if anybody so desires. Shannon Leslie, thank you. L. Smith, Barney, Tupelo. You can get elected because of Heisman Trophy winner if you're a former football coach. Football is massive in the South. Lori Arnold, good night. Jungle Jane, Max Smith, Echo, Dr. Justice, Sovereign Free Citizen, everybody that's been in here tonight. Thank you. Try to be a light in the darkness. It is a dark world, and try to do something positive. You may not succeed, but if you don't try, you damn sure ain't gonna succeed. I love you all. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night at midnight. This has been Late Night America on the American Dufus